To answer your question, we'd have to go back and watch each game and see what went wrong and compare to the match plan to see if the solutions did or did not work. If there were fundamental decisions that didn't work, or solutions that did not work, or it was just poor performances from players as a collective and individual. And so it's not a straight answer. Is what I'm saying. To answer your question, I think our solutions and our game model. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's very important that we are fresh and play with intensity, which was missing in both of our matches, which will not be missing this weekend. So we will have the correct solutions for Saturday. But as we saw in Seattle, and you see in a lot of these playoff games, players decide these games by making big plays, and that's exactly how it should be.
But you're a different team now. They're a different team. Maybe they have a little more confidence, but things are not static. They're different than they were then.
Well, I think it's the end of the season. We've had obviously more games. I think if you go back and look at the starting lineups, I think you'll see some changes. Sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, with Carlos Vela, I know he's played the 9, which he says hasn't been totally comfortable with at all. Right, it's not the position he's most comfortable with.
Those are your words. Probably not his.
I think that's what he said. He also seems like when he kind of is getting subbed off, it seems like he's more accepting of that than he maybe had been in the past. I was just kind of wondering, at this stage in his career, as he's kind of evolved into his role, kind of maybe changing a little bit. How has he kind of accepted that, I guess, and how has he kind of dealt with that? And also just kind of, have you seen kind of any kind of change at all in his position as a leader on the team, over these last couple of years?
To answer your question, yes, he is. His role as a leader has changed, as any players would. The older and more experienced players get. So he has seen more, done more, been in this organization longer, and so that changes his role as a leader because he has more to give, and he is giving more. To the first part of your question or statement, a lot of assuming going on there, so I don't think I'm going to comment on that. I think Carlos, what I can tell you is Carlos shows a very professional and energetic attitude to us and to his role in the team, and he has said it in front of the group. He said it in the media. He says it to me all the time. He wants to win games. That's it, and whatever it takes. His role, Denis' role, Kike's role, whoever's role it is, we're all in this to win a trophy, and more importantly, first of all, a game on Saturday.
Steve, your thoughts on Herrera and the challenges he presents?
Yeah, I mean, similar to some of our players, incredibly experienced, a world-class player. Obviously, plays the part physically, technically, mentally. Very smart, technical. He has the experience to understand how to play in big games too, games that matter. So it's been a great addition for them this year. I think this year Houston is, for me, the most improved team compared to last season, without a doubt. It's been fun to watch. They've been very successful, and we have our hands full Saturday. But I think his impact has been pretty large and positive.
Specific question about Denis Bouanga. What do you see him bringing to the team in particular, and how do you see his future?
Well, Denis' goals are irreplaceable. That is the case for any attacker in any team. Goals are what separates teams in the sport, and it's how you win games. And so I think his goals are obviously his biggest contribution to the group. There are some indirect contributions he has because of his prolific nature. He attracts defenders, and that can open up spots for other players and open up opportunities for other players. We are not concerned at the end of the day who scores the goals. Neither is Denis, by the way, which makes him an even bigger asset to this group. We are focused at scoring one more than the opponent, and that's pretty much it. That's all we're concerned with.
How do you see his future in the next?
In black and gold.
Steve,
It's something we've been working at for almost 2 years now. I said it from day one. It's always been my goal to play a type of football that is well balanced in all of the phases, and to have the right solutions in all the phases. So if you're sitting deeper, how to do that first and foremost, and how to capitalize from that or on that. And the same goes for the other phases. And at some point, they're all connected. So making sure our players understand what is needed and expected of them in each particular space on the field. Where is the ball? Where are your teammates? Where are the opponents? Where are the dangers? And where do we need to be? And I think they've done a great job with that. I think they did a great job against Seattle. Yes, optically and statistically, if you're big on stats with passes and possession, it doesn't look like we had a great game. But I think we did a very good job of minimizing, their strong points of their attack. And so, credit to our players to understanding what makes Seattle very good, especially at home, and did a great job of neutralizing that.
In terms of the competition at center back, I know coach would rather have that and seeing the options that you have and when you assess the opponent and what you choose in terms of what Dynamo gives you versus Aaron or the Neil, just how did that process?
It's not me alone. It's with the other coaches and management talking about lineups and what different players give, and what are we trying to achieve in our match plan for certain games. So some games will need different solutions, and we have a number of players who can start all games for us, and some come from the bench. So for me, I try not to think of it as whoever's starting, that's our solution. We have possibly 120 minutes to win a game and penalties. So there are many ways and moments throughout the entire match to influence the match as a coach, and we will use all of the players that we have in order to influence the match in a positive way for LAFC. I think what we learned from last year is we don't know who is going to impact the match and when. And this is what I share with the group, which is why it's very important that everybody is ultra engaged. Whether you're coming from the bench, you play a minute, you don't play a minute, or you play 120 minutes and you score your penalty. So we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to be the hero for LAFC, hopefully. So it's really important that we're all engaged and understand our roles when we are called upon. Yeah, I'm sure everybody does. Yeah.
Probably can't really look at the big picture live this season, but considering all the disadvantages that the defending champion faces in MLS, considering how many matches you had to play this year, what does it mean for this year to manage to reach the final four despite all those things?
It speaks volumes about the organization, and I think it goes even deeper to the business side of the organization. We have a lot of concerts in our stadium, and you have to turn the stadium up and down and turn it over. And there's been an incredible work ethic across the entire organization, A to Z, and our owners as well. Very proud of that, to be able to maintain success, stay calm, don't panic, with all of the situations we've been dealt with this year, which have been plentiful and difficult at times.
Steve, a couple questions from me. Carlos came into the year talking about how important it was for him to be fit and available, something he worked in the offseason. How do you assess what he's been able to produce for you guys, even if maybe he's not getting on the score sheet so much, but what do you make of the season?
Positive season. I think he's been healthy, which is great, and he's helped us. Forgive me for not knowing the stats, how many games he's played or how often, but I think he's still like a 10-goal player, a bunch of assists, still, in my opinion, prolific and important to us, and his leadership, and his IQ on the field and his ability to calm games down for us. At times, we can play a little too fast and erratic, and Carlos is very important at balancing that out for us. So success for me is not always measured in goals and assists. Even for attackers, they also have other roles. So for him, it's been a success. He's been healthy and he's helped us out. And obviously, when he's healthy, his leadership skills can come about as well, and that's what he's done.
And on Houston, it seems like so much of their success is predicated from the midfield and really the way they sort of put passes together and move. The first match you had against them, Artur and Herrera, very successful in their pass rate. The second game, both season low pass rates from them. Was that adjustments on your part, and how important is it to limit your success in sort of weaving together the way they do?
Sure, I think there was an adjustment. We were also at home. I also think we're a different team at home. I think there was, I have to go back and look, but there wasn't a whole lot of rest before the first game and in between. That was a very congested month for us. So I think physically that was just a tough draw for us. I believe it was really hot as well in Houston. It was always an uphill battle for us, and no discredit to Houston. They played fantastically, and they have a lot of the season. So I think at home this weekend we're fresh, ready to go. Intensity will be there, so I am hoping to see some lower numbers from our Houston midfielders. Yeah.
Was keying in their midfield key to you guys having success?
It's one of it. Look, I just think they're a very good team this year. They have 6 players on the field who really participate in the offensive game, and the other 4 are there to help build up until the final third and obviously to defend as well. And similar to Seattle, I think when scouting them, it's a team that scores goals and defense together. They're staying compact, and whatever they're doing, and in every moment in the game, they're doing it together, and that goes a long way in this game, and is elemental if you want to be successful long term. And I think Benny's done a fantastic job making sure that everybody's on the same page, and they are staying true to it and implementing their style more often than not onto teams than teams onto them.
All right, let's go on Zoom here. Michele, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Hi, Coach. Cherundolo. I wanted to ask you about the big picture, if I may, for a second. I know it's game by game, day by day, but this will be your second MLS Cup in 2 years. No team has won back-to-back MLS Cup in over a decade. It was the Galaxy, by the way. Do you ever just stop and think about that for a second? With you, with your players, with your staff? Thank you.
No, don't have to, because people keep reminding me. So, I personally don't like to stop until the season's over and reflect, unless it's necessary to improve on something that is wrong in our game. Then we'll stop, reflect, review, and discuss, and then implement solutions. But no, honestly, there's no time. I'm just focused on the next training session, getting the players ready, next video session, and creating the right game match plan for Saturday. And we'll take the same approach as we did in Seattle. Let's have a solution for half one, then we'll move on to half two, and then if need be, overtime, and then for penalties. So not a lot of time to reflect yet on whatever it means. We still have a very big hurdle to get over, and that's where our focus is.
Last one for Steve. Justin, go ahead.
Thank you, Seth. Hi, Coach. You mentioned Houston do a good job of imposing themselves on opponents, and looking throughout the season, they've typically like to dictate the pace of play with possession through midfield, but they employed a very different game plan in both of those regular season meetings, sitting in a mid to low block and countering. So my question is, how do you kind of reconcile those two things in terms of your planning and what you expect out of Houston on Saturday?
I'm not sure those other games are great indicators for us. It's a guessing game, how a team will approach. Of course, we'll use some of the moments, but this game will feel different. It is different. It's obviously more intense, and I think you'll see both teams have a little bit of the game, and how much rhythm and passing and clear moments of possession there are. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, right? Noted for MLS friends who are watching. I would say there won't be a whole lot of slower moments, and hopefully this game is fast and intense, and we can capitalize on those in between moments. So I wouldn't use those first two games as a huge indicator of what you're going to see Saturday.